Hello, welcome to Threading with Hearts. In this video, I'm going to be trying to learn how to do the step-by-step, knitting the step-by-step sweater handmade by Florence. I've done tried this sweater I would probably say 6 times, and I keep frogging it. I'm having trouble with the yoke part. I did it right a couple times, and then I didn't like the yarn that I was using. It was kind of rough, hard to use and stuff, so I decided to go ahead and use the yarn that she suggested. So I used this Drops Nepal yarn, and I'm using I don't know if it says the color on there or not. It's like a wool mixed alpaca, wool and alpaca. And it's kind of like a grayish color. It looks like this. So I went ahead and did the ribbing on the neck. I did the one that's I think it's large. It's hard to tell because it's numbered. But I went around. I cast on 80, and then I went around and did the ribbing stitch. You gotta do knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl all the way around. And I just did 5 rows, and how I counted my rows, kind of like in crochet, I just did 1, 2, these little bumps here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't really want like a big neckline. I kind of like these little smaller ones, these little smaller necklines. So that's how I did mine. And then you have to divide your with stitch markers. You need 8 stitch markers, and I'm using these little circular ones. I got mine from Amazon. They come in this little tin can thing. These are little needle stoppers that goes on top of your needle, like that. So it kind of like holds your needles in place. And then the little round stitch markers, they look like this. They go on your needle to kind of hold your places. So I did that, and I got 8 of them. I got 8 plus the green one is my start. I did a different color for my starting round, so I know where my starting round is. And these are like my sleeves, I think. And then there's 4 on each side. And then anyway, I made myself some notes on how to remember how to do the M1R and M1L because I didn't know how to do it, and I had to watch a video on how to do it. So on the M1R, it's from back to front. So how I remember that, it's like rear end or something. goes in the rear of the back, and then the L is front to back. So I'm not sure how to remember that to be the front, but and then I just I'm doing the yoke to be 54 total. So I made myself a list, and then I circled the because on the odd rounds you're gonna do the increases, and then on the even rounds you're gonna do all knit stitches. So I just made myself a list of like 1, 2, 3, and then the circled ones are the ones that I have to increase, which are the odd numbers. And over here I had to frog my work, so I had to restart my numbers, so that's why I have numbers over here. And then down here, this was my increase thing, where it says how to place your markers in the pattern. Like mine was unit 17, and then you put your stitch marker and, you know, kind of thing. So that's what I did. I just made myself little notes to try to remember how to do that. And I'm using it suggests 40 centimeters, 60, 100 circular needles. But you have to take into account, I didn't know this, but when you use knitting needles, you have to measure your cord and your needle, because if your needle is too long, then and you don't have enough stitches, then it'll be kind of tight to use. So I learned that. But I got this little kit, and I'm using a 4.5 millimeter hook for the neck part, and then once you get to the yoke, moved up to a size 5.5. The kind of like metal needles are more pointier, I noticed, for when you do the increases, because you're going to be trying to get in there and do your M1R and M1L, and then it's easier to grab your yarn with a pointier needle. And then I think, like in her video, she changes hers back to like a wood needle, because it glides and it's more smoother once you get to the body part, so it'll be easier to do the body part. I'm kind of nervous about doing the arms and everything to you know, change that, or like separate the body or the yoke from the arm part. But I think I can do the body part. I'm just kind of worried about if I can do the arm part and then the sleeves and stuff. But this is as far as I got so far on it. And I'm pretty new at knitting, so. And then also this week I crocheted a bag. I finished it. I was making one in my last week's video where I kind of freehanded it. So at the top, this is at the bottom 7, and then somehow the body ended up being 14 inches long. And I think this is, I went up 11 inches, and then I did 2 single crochets, and then I sewed on the strap upside down like this. Like I put it upside down, and then I crocheted around it. And then when I went back up, so that was like 3 rows of, since I crocheted around the strap, 3 rows of single crochet with the teal color. And then I went through and did a white, kind of like a cream color around, and then I went up over to the strap, all the way around, and then I went underneath the strap all the way around. So it's a pretty good bag. It's half double crochet. It's carrying all day cotton yarn is what I used. I made these notes to try to help me out a little bit. The M1L is left needle from front to back, and then you knit through the back loop. And the M1R is pick up the bar between the stitches on the left needle, back to front. So I'm gonna do this step right here. So before you pull the stitch marker over, you're gonna have to go in between the bar here. From M1R is from back to front. So you place this middle bar here to the back of the needle, going from the back, not the front, the back. And then you knit it like usual. And then you place your stick marker over. And then we're gonna knit to Then we're gonna go ahead and put this stitch marker over. Now on the M1L is the front. So you want this left needle to go in the front of this, in between your stitches, this little space bar here. So I'm going to pick it up with my right needle and try to place it in the front of my needle. Like that. And then you're going to knit it not in the front like you usually do, but in the back. That. And then you're going to knit it. I just want to make sure I got it before I do it. Alright, so and then this part, you'll just drop it off the left needle. Like that. You're going to do that 2 times. So then you're going to knit here and then do the M1R again, and then the M1L. on the bag, the bottom part is 7 inches long, so I just went up 11 inches this way. And then I did 2 single crochet around. And for the strap, I just folded it in half like this. And I found the center, and then I went over from the center 8 stitches on both sides. And I put these little stitch markers on both sides and ended up chaining 100 single crochets on the second row, and then I did half double crochet. So the strap will look about that long on the bag. And I don't know if I'm gonna sew those in or use a D-ring. I'm thinking about using a D-ring and just sewing the D-ring on. So we'll just see how that goes.